quad stencils. If you're not familiar with them, they are called Creating Quads, and they allow you to blend 4 unique panels using one set of layering stencils. And then because we are typically A2 card makers, you cut that large stenciled piece down into 4 quarters, i.e. quads, and you can create 4 different cards using those different panels. So far, I think up to this point, we have offered 11 different quad stencils. That includes the exclusives that we've done for certain events. And so we are excited to be expanding that collection with the Quad of the Month not a subscription. Club membership.
I'm so excited.
Whitney's here. She's supposed to be keeping me on track, but unfortunately she can't control the words that come out of my mouth. So
You're just excited.
Yes. Subscription, club, membership, it's pretty much all interchangeable. But what it is, so we are allowing you to sign up for either a 3-month club membership or a 6-month club membership. So if you sign up for 3 months, that covers the months of April, May, and June, and you'll get an exclusive quad stencil shipped right to your doorstep during those months. We are anticipating shipping mid-month, so if you signed up today, your first quad stencil is coming to you mid-April. So we're not putting a specific exact date on it, but somewhere around the 15th of the month, give or take a few days. So you guys have been asking for sneak peeks. We will not be doing sneak peeks for all of the stencils, just for this first original one to get you kind of excited. So I'm going to pop that up on the screen in case you haven't seen it yet. Here is our sneak peek of one of the quadrants of that first stencil. And Heather Nichols designed this, so you can bet that it's going to be amazing, and she is going to create some fabulous projects along with the rest of our creative team to inspire those of you that get this particular stencil. And I'm sure you're going to love the rest of them. I know I do, and if you're a sleuth, then you probably already zoomed into that picture of the stencils to try to get an idea of what those other quadrants might be. But I can tell you that they are fabulous and fun and reminiscent of a party. We'll just say that. Okay, so I talked a little bit about the 3-month subscription, so April, May, and June. So then if you sign up for the 6-month subscription, which is the best deal, it will be the April through September, and you'll get that quad stencil every month shipped to you mid-month. The memberships have the shipping included in them, so there is no extra charge on top of what the membership price is. We're not splitting this up month by month. So when you purchase the total today, that is the total for either 3 or 6 months. So there is no option, unless you use Afterpay to pay for your purchase, there's no option for splitting that into multiple transactions like a normal subscription would be, which is why we're calling it a membership, because it is a one-time prepaid membership to this club. Okay, so let's see. Yes, thank you, Charlie. Also is explaining why it's called a membership and not a subscription. What else am I missing? We are asking you, if you are buying a Quad of the Month membership, to please place that order separately from any products. So if you did not do that, we'll still get you both of your orders, but it would just help us greatly if you could place that separately. There is no shipping charge for the Quad of the Month membership because it's already included. So it will just be the price that you see for that item when you purchase it separately. If you ended up purchasing it with other items, just so you know that Quad Club membership does not qualify for the 100 plus freebie. So you would have to place an order for $100 or more in shippable products currently to get the $100 freebie. And then the other thing is it doesn't count towards your free shipping threshold of $50 or more. So if you are adding other products on with it, you still need to order at least $50 worth of products to get free shipping on that order. Hopefully that all makes sense, right? Okay, let's see if we have any questions. Julie says, who wouldn't want to be part of the club? So fun. And does the cost of the membership include a total towards your Rainbow royalty? It sure does. So you can use crafty points to pay for your membership. You can earn crafty points on your membership, which gets you toward a little bit closer towards that rainbow royalty level. So any purchase you make on tailoredexpressions.com will always apply to the royalty tiers or the loyalty tiers. Charlie wants to know if there will be club jackets. So far, no, we don't have any apparel for our Quad of the Month club planned, but that's a great idea. Let's see. If we did the 3 months, will we be able to sign up for the next 3 months? Okay, thank you. You guys are reminding me all the things that I wanted to talk about. So yes, if you sign up for the first 3 months, or if you don't, there will be another opportunity to sign up for the second 3 months, and that will happen in June. So like I said, you sign up now for 3 months, you get April, May, and June. Then we'll open up that sign up period for an additional 3 months, and you would then get July, August, September. So the best deal is to sign up for 6 months now, but if you can't do that, then you can sign up for the 3 months and then again for another 3 months in June. Hopefully that makes sense, but you don't want your friends to miss out on the Quad of the Month Club, so friends don't let friends miss out. Make sure you tag your friends and let them know, because I know we're going to have disappointed people who, after we reach the 26th, when we cut off these memberships, that are going to say, well, I didn't know about it, and I wish I had known about it. And so tell all your friends, because I don't want to have disappointed people we have to turn away until June. But yes, we are super excited about this. Debbie's quickly working her way to Rainbow Royalty. Yes, awesome. Yes, Kathy asked if all the quads in the membership will be newly designed stencils. Yes, they are all brand new, never before seen, and exclusive to the membership. So if you don't sign up for the membership, these will not be available for purchase outside of the membership on the website. And then we will also have a monthly live that you can catch. We want to wait until people get their stencils, so likely sometime toward the end of each month, we will have a live here on Facebook for those of you to watch and get some ideas for how you want to use your stencil. I know we've had some questions about whether there will be add-on dies or foilets or sentiment sets or anything else that goes with these quads. And at this time, it is just the quad itself that will be shipped to you. And we're really going to be focusing on using the quads, the new and exclusive quads, with items that we already have in our catalog. So we'll be giving you some inspiration that comes with your packaging for the quad stencil, so you can get an idea of, here's some sentiment sets that work really great with this particular design, and if I don't have those, I could add them on to my next order, or maybe you will have them in your collection, and that will be like a happy surprise that you have something that already pairs really well with the quad itself. So, all right, I answered that for you, Christine, about add-on products. Deneen saying teal satin jackets. Yes, this is sounding very, is that 80s or 70s? Awesome. Karen asked if it will be on the main Facebook group or a separate one. It will be on the main Facebook group, so those of you who didn't sign up can see the content that we'll be creating, and maybe that will give you some inspiration to sign up for the next 3 months if you didn't sign up, but it will just be available on our main Facebook page. So, all right, should we talk through? I think I got through most people's questions. Oh, Michelle, here, I'll answer yours really quick. Are they neutral, meaning not themed to a holiday that someone may not celebrate? Yes, we would not give you a quad that is themed to a particular holiday that you might not celebrate. So we really do try to keep these pretty general themed as opposed to seasonal. So most of our seasonal products will continue to remain in our seasonal releases that happen throughout the year. So yes, they will be more neutral, generic but versatile. How about that? Okay, oh, that's a good word. Louise says, I love when products are backwards compatible. So I assume that means compatible with things that you might already have in your collection. So yes, that's our hope with this, that we can show some of the amazing existing products that we have and how you can use them to create really new and fun designs in addition to the quad. Okay, so should we start talking about storage? I am super excited about this. It has been probably, I want to say, maybe a year in the making. And part of that is due to just supply chain and getting things from overseas and how long that process takes. But it's also partly due to the development process, which I take pretty seriously. A lot of times I get an initial, almost every time I get an initial prototype of a product and I say, I don't like this part, or I want to change this part, or let's go back to the drawing board and rethink that. And with this particular product, it happened quite a bit, a few more times than normal, where I just couldn't settle on the right, I guess, method to do this type of organization. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about what was discarded and why this new and I guess fully designed product is the best that it can be. So let's get to talking about it. All right, get you to the right screen here. So the new Creating Quad and Triple Slim storage is called Simple Storage Perfect Pouch and Big Binder. And you guys, I am fully, yes, I am zoomed out all the way so you can see that this is a big binder. It is not your typical 8.5 by 11 binder because your stencils are 8.5 by 11. So we had to make the pouches larger than the stencils, and then the pouches, the pouches larger than the stencils and the binder larger than the pouches so that they fit inside. But let's take these out and we're gonna talk about the different features. So when I originally started this process, you guys you probably have seen our stencil storage for the 6x6 and mini slim stencils. I'm gonna run over and grab mine really quick. All right, so this is my binder for 6x6 stencils, one of them. I actually have 4 of them, truth be told. But when I started this process, we started with a design that was really similar to the inserts that you get with your 6x6 stencils. So these are our 6x6 stencil sleeves. They fit our stencils perfectly. They work really well in this binder. However, when I got the first prototype and the larger size to fit the large quad stencils, it was really flimsy. I didn't like it at all. It didn't hold up. It didn't have nice sturdiness. It wouldn't store things nicely, in my opinion. So I sent that back and I said, nope, we're not going to go forward with the similar storage that we did for our other stencils because it just doesn't make sense in this particular size. So went back to the drawing board and decided on these folder style pouches that will fit many things in them, not just your quad and triple slim stencils. So some of the features of these pouches, they are sized 10 by 13 is the opening inside. So they will fit your 8.5 by 11 cardstock. They will fit your quad stencils plus the packaging if you have the packaging file or the packaging that it came in. They will fit a roll of deco foil. So one of my favorite things to store flat is a roll of deco foil, so it's easy to pick out those colors and craft with them. I don't have to unroll and roll back up that roll every time that I want to use it. So it stores many different things. It's a nice, sturdy, durable plastic, so it's not gonna, it's not like the plastic of our 6x6 and mini slim stencil pieces or sleeves. It is very nice and thick and durable and sturdy. To increase the sturdiness, we added grommets to the side so that if you're flipping or if you're traveling with and you have some heavier things inside, it's not going to rip and pull those holes out of your binder over time. So a nice little feature there that it has those grommets in there. Then we have our label pouch. So right up here at the top in the flap of the pouch, you have a little sewn plastic label area, and you can just stick your little label in there, which I'm going to show you. We have designed some labels just for you guys. You can see it fits in there. Just push it in with your thumb. Then we have the closure. So I tried a lot of different closures with this. I tried Velcro, I tried magnet. The thing that I didn't like about either of those was it added a lot of bulk. So that magnet or Velcro always has to be in the same spot. You can't vary where it is without kind of making the product look funny. So in doing that, I was only able to get a few pouches in the binder itself, and I didn't like that. So we went back and we did this tabbed insert here. And you can see that little tab. It is, I don't want to call it dainty, but be careful with it. You don't want to pull on it because it is just plastic and it will come apart if you yank on it too hard. But you can see here, I'm placing that tab and I put it down into that hole here in the front of the binder, and it just closes like that. So just slip that tab in there, and it is strong enough to hold if you've got your quad stencil, your dies, and you hold it upside down like this, it's not going to pop open on you. It's going to stay nice and tight in there. Now, one other feature, so I showed this to some of the, as we were getting really close in our kind of prototyping, getting very close to the final end product, I showed this to a few people in our local studio, and one of the suggestions that one of the women made was it was hard to see exactly where this tab goes back into the front of the folder. And so this was a last minute addition where you can see it is outlined with white, and so that allows you to really easily see where that opening is when you're going to reclose it again. So I thought that was a great suggestion, and that was the very last addition we made to this product before it was final. So you can also see you've got your Tailored Expressions logo just hidden right there at the bottom, and I think it has been all thought of, all considered, and I love where this ended up. So each of these simple storage perfect pouch packages, wow, that was a mouthful, comes with 10 pouches in one package, and they retail for $18. Now I'm going to put this up on the screen because we do have a special going on with the release of the perfect pouches. So we have a buy more, save more. If you buy 3 or more packages of perfect pouches, that would be 30 or more, you get 10% off. If you buy 5 or more packages, that would be 50 perfect pouches, you get 15% off. So think about all the different things you might want to store in here, and maybe not just your quads and triple slims, because there's so much more that fits. So I am going to pop up another picture here and show you my collection of foils. Now we have, I believe we carry 50 different deco foils. Maybe it's 40, 42. I can find that out pretty quickly here. We carry 42 different deco foils at TE. And so when I was sorting and organizing, I actually shouldn't say when Whitney was sorting and organizing my foil collection, we realized that it was too much to fit in binders. And every time you wanted a foil, you had to find that binder, open it up, flip through the binder, and find the particular foil that you wanted. Well, in this case, we have used one of those office kind of tiered sorters and placed all of the foils in there, and that's how we store the foils, just out next to the mink on our countertop. It's easy to find. They're color coded in rainbow order, and I'm going to show you a few of them up close here as I get back to my other screen. All right, so here are a few of those foils up close. You can see I've got my red there. I don't have very much wild cherry in that package. We've got pink melon, enchanted rose. We have some magenta. So again, I organize these in my file sorter in rainbow order so I can easily find what I want. Now let's start talking about these beautiful labels that you're probably seeing on my pouches. we have a couple of sets of pre-printed and pre-cut labels for you. We have our Decofoil Perfect Pouch labels, which includes all 42 colors listed out here on each label, and they are toner printed, so you can foil them. So that's what I've done on my pouches. There you go. You can see I've got them already foiled. Actually, Whitney did that. Truth be told, Whitney would like to do a class on organizing your craft stash because that is what she does here at TE, and she does it so well. So I came in after these products were pre-printed, and we got the first samples, and I came in after being gone, and Whitney had them already all foiled and labeled and ready to go. So I thought she is definitely in the right position because she loves to organize things, and she definitely keeps me organized. So that is the Decofoil labels. Then we have also created a set of Create and Quad and Triple Slim Perfect Pouch labels. We have everything, every quad and triple slim we've ever released, including the exclusives that we've done for events. So there may be a few in here that, I think there are only 2 that were exclusive that you may not have if you didn't attend the particular event that they were for. So if you don't find them on the website, then that means that they were probably an exclusive. This one in particular was from our latest kit that just released last month, the Create and Quads Abstract. So if you didn't get the kit, then you may not have that one either. But this is just a really nice and convenient way to store all of your quads and triple slims and label them so you know exactly what's inside. So let's go and talk about the big binder now. I'm going to show you guys my collection, again organized by Whitney. I still have the sticker on this binder, but I have one big binder for my quad stencils and one big binder for my triple slim stencils. So if you have every quad we've ever released, there are 11 of them. And we'll open it up and you can see we've already got the label in there. We've got each stencil. And if the stencil came with coordinating dies, I want to show you guys that we actually stored the coordinating dies in with the stencil. So there are the 2 Halloween dies that coordinate with that one. Again, if you take this out and we hold it upside down, you can see that's really nice and sturdy. Even with the heavier die in there, it's not going to slip out of the packaging at all. Now that I have messed around with that, I want to put it nice back in place nicely and back in our binder again. And then here's the other one that has dies with it, the birthday stencil. So another thing that you might want to store in your quad binder could be our Creating Quads cardstock that comes pre-cut in the white and the toffee colors. So when you're ready to use a quad, you know you have your paper right there with it. I have 11 quads in this container here, in this binder. And I would say, I believe we said on the website, you can store up to 15 pouches. Really depends on the thickness of what you're storing. 15 pouches is going to fit your foil, probably. I think that's about as many as I liked to have in there without overloading the binder rings. So if you're storing foil in a binder, it could be up to 15 pouches. With these, I think I could fit maybe one more quad stencil in here, or my paper could go in here as well. But I'd say 12 would be the max if you're storing your quads in the binder. Then let's take a look. Paula, there are so many tutorials on how to use quad stencils. She said she's new to the game. So actually, if you hang out here with us a little bit more, I'm going to show you how to use one of the quads. It's not our new exclusive. It's one of the existing quads in our collection called Hooray Quad. And so I'll give you a little mini tutorial, a crash course here in a little bit when we craft together. All right, so this is my triple slim binder. So we have In the Garden, Holly Holiday, there's the birthday triple slim with the dies that coordinate. We have the recent Valentine Hearts in Bloom. We have our boho with clear stamps. That was from last summer. And then we have the triple slim Falling for You. I even have some extra die cut pieces that are in my little baggie along with the dies that coordinate and the clear stamps with that one. So I believe there are only 6 triple slims currently in our collection, and we have not done any exclusive triple slims. So all of the triple slims we have are available for purchase on the website. And again, both of the triple slim and creating quads are part of this label set if you want to be able to label your quad stencils with the pouch. Let's see if I missed any other questions. All right, Louise says next order another binder or 2. Yes. Oh, one thing I did not mention about the binders. So size is always very important to me. I know that many of us use the IKEA Kallax units in our craft room. Stamp & Storage does an amazing job of designing storage products that fit into that unit. And so that's what I use in my craft room, and it was really important to me to be able to stand my binder upright within my IKEA Kallax unit. That is how I store all of my binders, is setting them upright and storing them like you would a book on a shelf. So this does fit in the IKEA Kallax unit. I believe it's about, I want to say 13, yeah. It is just right under 13 inches tall, so it will fit perfectly in that. Or if you have a shelf or on your desktop, it would work to store that way too. Or even in a drawer if you wanted to store it flat like this. All right, I'm gonna see if we get any more questions here before I move on. I need to take a drink. I've been talking and talking and talking, I feel like. So, all right, you guys ask if you have any more questions before we move on, and I am going to take a sip of my tea bomb. I think I earned a sip, right? Okay, anybody else ever had a tea bomb? They call them different things in different parts of the world, but it's one of those kind of shake shops, they call them, like a nutrition shake where it's protein shakes and tea bombs. This one is called Beach Vibes, and anyone here at the office would tell you it's a several times a week thing for me. So if you're around here, then definitely check out Thrive. It's called Thrive in North Ankeny, and they make the most wonderful tea bombs. So, all right, somebody asked, let's see, will the new membership have mini slims? Nope, the new membership is only for quads, so only for those A2 quads, which you could turn into mini slim cards, but yes, we will not have any mini slims. Where did you get the tiered storage for your foil? I think that was, I want to say a store like a Staples or an office supply store like that, Office Depot, something along those lines. Will the new club stencils come with a label? They will not come with a label. However, we plan to put out a downloadable option when all 6 months are finished, and you guys can label those, or we might make a smaller set available as time goes on and we continue to release those quad stencils. So I know everybody likes matching labels, so we will continue to provide those in some way for you. Let's see. Maybe that is something we can consider. So yeah, you guys are saying it'd be nice if new quads came with a label. So I think that is something we can consider. How do you store your layering stencils that are 6x6? I think I have my layering stencil book here, so I can run and grab that and show you in just a second. Or if Whitney hears me, she'll come in and grab it for me. Let's see. Hope you are familiar with the shake places. Yes, Karen, catch it on replay later if you can't stay. Another Karen, we do not have plans to make the Abstract 2 stencils available for purchase at this time. So they were just part of the kit, which most of our products are exclusive when they come out in a kit. Question, is there a free shipping threshold for Canada? I sure wish there were, but there is not. Shipping to Canada, as you know, as someone who lives in Canada, is just super expensive. Do the 3 holes match standard notebook placement? No, they do not, because this binder is quite oversized from your standard notebook. So no, they do not. All right, I think we might get to crafting together. Whitney, lots of people said they would love to take your organizational class.
Yes! You guys, that makes me so happy. I can't wait.
I like to come up with all the ideas for organizing the products, and Whitney loves to actually organize them. It brings her some form of great joy. Yes. You should hear her squeal sometimes when she gets like the perfect organization, and yeah.
Did you tell them that I sent you pictures on your vacation of all the things I organized? I was so excited.
Yes, I was on spring break last week, I think it was, and Whitney's sending me pictures while she's at the office of all the things that she organized while I was gone. So yes, there is fun. I know we always say this hobby is like 2-part. It's like making cards is one hobby and organizing your card making supplies is another hobby. So okay. What is the name of the IKEA product? So I was talking about the IKEA Kallax. It's Kallax if you're on their website, and it's a big unit, so it comes in different sizes. I have 2 of the 5x5 cubes, and they take up a good amount of space, but they store everything for me. They store my stamp sets and my dies and my inks and my paper and everything. So someday I'll do a quick walkthrough in the craft room. I keep telling Whitney I want to do that, and then there's like, oh, but let's get this organized first. Oh, but let's figure out this organization first. So now that we have our new perfect pouches out there in the world, I think we could be doing one of those fun walkthroughs of my crafty organization soon. So, all right, should we craft together? I think I explained that I was going to do a little crafty session here. I always like to get crafty with you guys at the end of the product reveal. And today I'm going to use a quad stencil that's already in our collection. It's called Creating Quads Hooray. And we originally released it for grad, but today I'm going to show you how you can repurpose it for birthday cards. And I'm going to be using it in combination with our Foilet Hooray birthday panels and show you how you can use those individual panels and stencil them all together with the quad. So, are you ready? Here we go. Okay, so here is that quad that I'm talking about. This one is 3 layers. So we do have some quads that are 3 layers and some that are 4. And this particular one, like I said, was released for graduation. It has grad caps and tassels on one quadrant of the stencil. However, we created a product to make this versatile and be able to use it for birthday cards when you simply eliminate the stenciling on these 2 layers. So we're going to do that today. And I know there have been lots of questions about getting some instruction on how to combine them with our foilet panels. So we have several different stencils that have coordinating foilet panels to go with them. We've already pre-printed, and in a lot of cases it's design artwork that goes with the layering stencils. In this case, it's sentiments that fit within the design of the stencil. So there are 4 different panels in this particular foilet pack, and they fit in each of the 4 different quadrants. There are 12 panels in here, so you get 3 each of these 4 designs, which means you can make a total of 12 cards, 12 birthday cards with these. All right, let's take these out of the pack. Oh wait, I don't need to. This is a brand new package, and Whitney already brought me these to use. So I'm going to pull out my Mink machine, my mini Mink today, because it fits better in the camera. If you don't have a Mink, the mini is a great place to start. I usually like to start with a 4, and then you can play around with it. So some people have a machine that heats up pretty hot and only need to go to a 3. If you heat it up too hot, the foil tends to wrinkle when it goes through, and then you can have some lines in your design when it comes out the other side because the foil has puckered in a certain area and created an area that didn't adhere the foil to it. So it's kind of a trial to see what your machine prefers as far as the heat setting, but I typically go with a 4. The other thing I wanted to talk about today that is new at the Tailored Expression store, and I think I've heard several of you talk about how the transfer carrier folder that, they really don't want you to get this open. So the transfer folder that comes with your Mink, you only get one, and it can get ruined if you send it through your machine kind of at an angle, or sometimes for reasons unknown, it can crinkle and crease and get ruined. And so they have put out this product that is a set of replacement transfer carriers. So I have found, Susan and I actually have been discussing this for quite a while. We have found that using the parchment paper, while it works, the parchment paper should be considered a one-use product. I found that after the first use, the smoothness or the parchment paper becomes less smooth and it starts to ripple. And the more that your parchment paper ripples, the more it affects the foil that's inside of it. And then your foil starts to ripple and you get some of those lines on your foiled panel that are unfoiled. So we have found that the carrier sheets like this, they conduct the heat better than parchment paper because they're a clear plastic, and they're a little bit thinner, so they allow, again, conduct that heat a little bit better than the parchment paper. So we've gotten some better results with these, and we now have these replacement folders in the store for your purchase. If you lost or damaged yours, you can grab a set of two of those at the TE store. Okay, so this does not come with your clear panels, but this is just a 6x6 sheet of cardstock, just something I had in my old stash. It's not even TE cardstock, I don't think. I put this into the carrier sheet to give it a little bit more stability as I'm sending it through. It also gives it a little bit more, it provides a shim, if you will, so that there is more thickness in this folder as you send it through, so that those rollers that are inside of the Mink are pushing down onto your foil and helping it adhere to your cardstock a little bit better. So I am going to start with this It's Your Birthday panel. If you've never foiled before, then we put the piece here with the design printed side up on top of our cardstock shim, and then I'm going to take the foiled piece here, and I don't think I think I cut that the wrong direction, so my bad. Hold please. I have the foil all organized behind me, so I'm going to grab some rainbow shattered glass foil. Okay, so here's my thinking if you want to get inside my brain. So as I'm setting up this foil on here, I'm thinking, okay, I don't really want all of this wording to be blue at the bottom. I'd rather that it be a multiple colored sentiment. And so I should have cut my foil this direction where I cut it this direction. So I'm gonna recut that. Sometimes it helps to get inside Taylor's head when I say, uh-oh, hold please, what am I really thinking? All right. So we're cutting the foil to fit around that piece of cardstock. Placing it down with the pretty side of the foil facing up. So the not pretty side of the foil just looks like this. It's still pretty, but you want whatever the colored and intended end design that you want should be facing up so that you can see it. Then we'll close that folder down. Oh, Jenny's asking, will we be getting the Mink machine back in stock? Well, Jenny, if Whitney is watching this, I was pretty sure we got the Mink machine back in stock. So I thought I saw those come in the other day, and potentially, Whitney, maybe you want to check with downstairs crew in the warehouse and see if there's an issue getting those machines back on the website, or Maybe I'm mistaken and I didn't see them as I was walking through the warehouse the other day, but I thought I did. So yes, the answer is yes, we are getting those machines, the Mini Mink, back in stock. Oh, okay, that's right. Lori said it came back Stamp Joy weekend, and she bought one. I should have remembered that. Okay, so this is fairly hot as it comes out. I like to let it cool just a little bit before I peel back that foiled design. And you can wave it if you want. Just let that paper cool down slightly. And then we'll go ahead and the big reveal. Here's what it looks like. Isn't that pretty? I love, love, love foil. It never photographs as well as it looks in person, so the design team members and I always lament about taking pictures of foil. It's just hard to capture the full amount of beauty that you get from a foiled panel. So this is one panel. Now let's quickly do these others. Celebrate. I am going to foil with silver stars. So this is a fun looking foil that has tiny little stars in the background, and it's kind of a silver holographic. Now, as I'm putting it in, I mentioned this, how it's easy to ruin your carrier sheet if you put it in a little bit cockeyed. So usually I hold it with my fingers on both sides as I'm slipping it through, and I always push it through with the folded edge going in first. So hopefully those are a couple tips that will help you keep from ruining your carrier sheets if that's something you've done in the past. Shelly asked, when foiling smaller pieces like the calendar size, do you do it one at a time? No, you don't have to do it one at a time. You can certainly, if it will fit on your carrier sheet, it won't harm anything to do more than one, which is the nice part about having the large Mink machine. And that is typically what I'm using when I am in my craft room, just because I have it. A lot of times I'll use the small carrier sheet in the larger machine. If I'm only doing one panel, then I don't have to wait for that large carrier sheet to go all the way through. Amy, I did cover that a little bit earlier, but I do always add a cardstock layer in my folder for when I'm foiling. It gives a little bit of extra stability to that thinner folder, and it acts as a shim of sorts, adding extra pressure to the rollers so that that foil adheres nicely onto your design. All right, that was number 3. And we have this one that says happy birthday to you, and that goes along the bottom edge. So I just cut a small piece of foil to cover the words. All right. Trying to get all the questions answered, so I think I'm keeping up. Yes, Marcia, I was just showing that we just started carrying those carrier sheets, and they can be purchased separately. So they come in a set of 2. Right now we only have the 6x6 Mini Mink carrier sheets, not the full-size Mink carrier sheets. But you can use these minis in the larger machine. So if you have the larger machine, you can still get use out of these. And a lot of times when you're foiling just one panel at a time, it's nice to have the smaller size carrier sheet so you're not waiting and waiting for that full sheet to go through. All right, let's peel these back and take a look at, I used silver shattered foil on this pretty one. And then this one was the silver stars on the Celebrate. Look how beautiful that turned out. I love it. And then we have the last one here that says, let's celebrate you, it's your day. So when you are using foil-it panels with stencils, I didn't talk about this at the beginning, but our rule is to foil first. I try to remember If you like kind of mnemonic aids, FF is what I try to remember. Foil first, not blend first. So you want to foil the panels first and then blend over the top. So it doesn't hurt the foil to blend over it. And a lot of times, if you're applying ink to the panel before you foil it, the formulation of the ink can affect the adhesion of the toner. So that's why we say foil first and then blend. All right, we're going to shut this guy off now. Move that out of the way. And we're going to get this set up with our stencil. So if you have the packaging file from the stencil, so you should have it because yours came in it, it's pretty easy to tell which design goes with which stencil. We're going to start with layer number 1, which is SN213. This particular quadrant creates a frame around the outside. So we're going to place this on this quadrant. You can see that the sentiment in the center there will have the design overlapped around the outside of it, or framed around the outside of it. Okay, so in order to line up, this first one is the most important. We're going to use the etched alignment guide all the way around the outside, and we're going to line up the right and the bottom of this panel with the alignment etching. I'm going to need to get my tape ready before I get my stencil all lined up. I do that all the time. I'll line up my stencil and then I'll have to set it down in order to get my tape ripped off of the roll. Okay, so I've got this side lined up. Like I said, this first one is the most important. The others are just going to fall right into place as we adhere them onto the back of the stencil. So once you have that first one, we're just going to tape these two sides down to the stencil. Don't cover up your alignment square as you're adhering, and then we'll move to the next one. So the next one, let's work with this one. As I mentioned, there are grad caps on the stencil, so you can see those grad caps here. Well, to make this useful for birthday, we simply replace the grad caps with birthday cakes on the foilet panel. So when you get to layer number 2, you're not going to stencil the grad caps. You're simply going to mask off that area and you're going to use what's printed on the birthday panel instead to make this a birthday card. So that one's going to go in the top right. And as you flip this over, you can push it right up against the one that you just laid down. You can check your alignment guides on each side and then adhere that to the stencil. Notice I'm only adding that teal tape on the sides because I don't want to add any tape in the middle where we're going to put our panels. So this panel with the writing on it, you can see goes on this quadrant that has an open space at the bottom for the wording. So we're going to put that down here. Now, I should also mention, if you're new to quads, you do not have to do it like this every time. So we have designed large sheets of paper that are cut perfectly to be able to do this all at once. However, our foilet panels come already pre-cut, mostly so that they can fit through the mini mink. Otherwise, if we made one large piece of foil, it would really cut down on the number of people who would find that useful. You'd have to have a large mink machine in order to use the foilet panels that way. So that's why we've already pre-cut them for you, and it takes a little bit of setup to be able to use those foilet panels with the stencil, but I think it's all worth it. Pretty easy. You saw once I got that first one in place to just set those other 3. All right, so I am going to go ahead and put a little bit of tape on the back of this, on the back of each panel, so that when we move to our next stencil layer, it's going to make it a lot more simple. I think you'll see what I mean here when we move on past this first layer. All right, so now our paper is tacked down to our placemat, and I know it's not going to move. So I'm going to take my pencil and I'm going to mark the alignment squares here. so that when we remove layer 1, we can take layer 2. The paper is going to stay on the placemat, and layer 2 will fall into place using these alignment squares to guide where that stencil goes. All right. Now, Shelly asked, do you ever tape the 4 cards together and then ink blend? I don't do it that way because then I can't see or shift if I have potentially one card that needs to be moved slightly differently. In most cases, all the 4 cards butt up against each other, but you do want to pay attention to your alignment guides around the outside and make those slight adjustments, which you can't do if you adhere the paper together first. Okay, so first color, we are going to use 3 colors: Lollipop, Cookie Monster, and Plum Punch. So that first stencil layer that we have on here, we're going to use, oh, you know what? I didn't use Cookie Monster. I used Tropical Punch. Okay, I found it. So Tropical Punch looks a lot better with this particular foil that we used, so that's why I chose that. We are going to do this first panel up here in the top corner. That's the one where the grad caps will be on the next panel. So this is actually the only panel that we're going to stencil. And my foil goes pink, purple, teal. So I'm going to vary the stars in the background, and I'm going to go teal, pink, purple. So we're going to start with teal on the left, so that these little confettis that are within the background are kind of in a different arrangement than the foil colors. So there we have teal. That's the Tropical Punch. And then we have pink. And then we'll do the Plum Punch next to that. And then we're going to take the rest of these quadrants once I'm done here, and we're going to stencil those. In Tropical Punch. Okay, so I'm not going to remove the stencil yet. I'm going to come back with the Tropical Punch ink, and I'm going to blend the rest of this layer. And this time I'm going to use the larger blender brush. What is the difference in the 2 foils? Maybe I missed another question. I don't know what 2 foils. The different foils that I used on the background, there really is no difference. I need to remove my masking area here so I can blend the rest of this. There really is no difference. There is a difference between foil that's used for hot foiling and foil that is used for heat foiling. I know that's super confusing, but the type of foiling that you do with a hot plate, that uses hot foil and does not work with toner printed pieces like we are using for ours, which is why we carry the Deco Foil brand, and that's what works with our foiling products. Hi, Mindy. Mindy says this is one of her favorite color combinations. I love this one. There's a little bit of purple, a little bit of blue, a little bit of pink, so it doesn't seem overly boy or girl, and can be used for lots of people, all the people. All right. Now that we're finished with that color, we're going to move to layer 2. Pull this one up. I want to make sure that my cardstock is staying in place. As you remember, we put the tape on the back of each of these panels so that it would stay tacked down to our cardstock so that we could easily move to stencil layer number 2. and use those penciled alignment squares to line up the stencil over the top. And then we'll press it into the teal tape on the back. If you want to add more teal tape on the front to hold that stencil in place, you certainly can, just kind of on each side of the front of the stencil as well. Now here's what you want to remember. Like I said, we're not going to stencil this layer. So this second layer has the tassels on it for the grad caps. And this panel is already done. You could actually take it out if you don't want to accidentally mess it up. I probably should have done that. We're done with that one now. It has the foiled birthday cakes and the pretty confetti in the background. Now we're going to move on to Plum Punch layer here. A fun magenta colored purple. I put a little bit of masking here since I didn't take that panel out, and I want to make sure that I don't go over the edge of my masking tape and accidentally blend that. All right. Could you use pixie spray, or would that ruin the foil? You could use pixie spray. It might peel up your foil. I typically don't like to use pixie spray before or after foiling. I haven't had it have a lot of issues with pulling up the foil, but I think it really depends on how much of it you use also. So my rule is kind of just don't risk it if you don't need to. And in this case, the stencil is not really intricate enough to require the use of pixie spray. So I would choose just to use that, some kind of temporary tape to hold your stencil in place. So fun. So relaxing to do a little bit of blending. All right, before I peel up this layer, I'm gonna add in a little bit of jelly donut ink. So I have a mini blender brush for this one, and I'm gonna add some kind of darkness around the edges of this banner. Pull in a little bit of dimension. I only did that with the purple, not any of the other colors. And then the larger stars, I'm gonna blend those the darker purple to give just one more different color showing up in that background. All right, now we're done with layer 2. Peel up my masking area here. This time I'm gonna follow my own advice from last time. And as we peel this up, I'm gonna take this panel out because it is done and we don't want to ruin it. So we can actually remove that panel. It is finished. It just had that first layer on it because we were skipping the tassels and the grad cap layer in order to make this a birthday card. So now we've got one more layer left. You can kind of see these coming together. All right, last one. So we've got our alignment squares here. Line those up over the top and tack this last layer down. Now I don't have to worry about getting up into this quadrant because there's no panel there to worry about. And our last color is Lollipop. Almost there to the big reveal. And then I'm going to show you a few different ways that you can embellish these once they're finished. So there's lots of different options for that. And it's fun to experiment with new products as we continue to release different things and try different techniques. So I've got maybe some unexpected ideas for you. Right, Almost there. It's not purple, Charlie. It's magenta. Didn't you notice how I used that word instead? I did use the jelly donut though, which is purple for sure. I'm a new purple lover. What can I say? Can't get away from it. Okay, so we'll pull up that final layer and we'll do the big reveal on these last 3 panels. I'm keeping you overtime today. All right. Peel the tacky tape off of the back. Almost there. I haven't made too big of a mess of my hands. I keep looking at them thinking I'm going to smudge one of my panels, but I think I'm safe. Okay, so here's panel number 1. Happy birthday to you along the bottom in beautiful foil. Then we've got Let's Celebrate You, It's Your Day with the silver shattered foil. Then this one has the kind of fireworks, confetti style pattern in the background with Celebrate. I always thought this one would be really fun for 4th of July too, with that Celebrate panel and maybe red and blue firecrackers in the background. All right, then this last one that I didn't take the tape off of yet, we have It's Your B-Day, Let's Celebrate with that pretty multicolored rainbow shattered foil. All right, what do you guys think? Do you have a favorite of the 4 panels? The thing I love about these is you could call it done here if you wanted to just adhere this panel to your card base. You could, but I wanted to show you some other options for decorating these, and I have my finished cards here, so I'll kind of bring them in and give you a few other ideas. So one of the ways that we often love to decorate these are with our A2 thin frame cutting plate. So that is a die that looks like this. It is a set of frames that cut in these many different sizes from one sheet of cardstock. So when you cut them, they're all connected together like this, and then you simply pop out the frame that you want, and you can use that on your project. Looks like maybe mine didn't quite get cut all the way through when I sent this through beforehand, but you get the idea. I think mostly the lines all got cut out here. You'll definitely want to use a shim with this, and if you miss, oh, here it goes, it's popping out. If you miss a little spot, you can simply just take a scissors and just give it a loose little cut there, and it will loosen from the frame next to it. So not all is lost if you didn't quite get it all cut out, but definitely use a shim with that particular die. And then you can use those frames on the different styles of cards. You can see on this one, I used it around the outer edge of that foiled panel. And then on this one, I brought the attention to the center so you didn't miss out on this pretty Celebrate in the middle, and then used one of our mini strips birthday sentiments in the background. So that's one way to finish these panels with a little extra. A second way, I pulled out my inner Kavya, and if you guys know Kavya from our creative team, she is known for her dots and her dashes, and so I did dots and dashes on a couple of panels. I also did some tracing with white gel pen. So these 2 panels both have little white gel pen marks. So here I have my dash and dot on all of those little firework pieces. And over here I added some dots inside the circles, and I traced the larger stars around the outside with white gel pen as well. All right, are we ready for the next thing? So rhinestones are never a bad idea. On these two cards, I used our black rhinestones to add a little bit of extra dimension and sparkle and shine to the panels. So in this case, I added them into the middle of the dots that were already blended, and over here I added them in addition to the confetti that's around the outside. All right, last but certainly not least, did you guys catch what I did on this one? I'm gonna move it up closer into the camera so you can see. I added stitching. So I am loving all of the Get Thready items that we have at TE, and I decided to create my own stitching pattern for this particular design on the quad. So I simply took my, where is it? My panel. Dun, dun, dun. Of course, that's the one that I lost. Y'all need to see my desk here. Okay, it looks like it's gone forever. Oh, I dropped it. It's on the floor. Okay, so now it has little pieces of dust on it. So I took this panel and decided that I wanted to add some stitching to each of the banners. So I got out my Misty foam pad and my die cut, or my die pick, and I simply poked holes into the design and then I stitched it. So it was super easy. I probably sat and did this for maybe 15 minutes with these different colors and tried a couple of different stitches. Obviously the back stitch takes a little bit longer than this stitch here. I don't know all the names of the stitches. I just know they're fun. And so adding a little bit of extra stitch detail to the panels is always a fun option as well. All right. Did we say we had a favorite panel? I gotta look back because that's always my favorite part, is when people say which one they like the best. I do have pictures of the finished cards that I will post with the video after the live has ended, so you guys can use those as inspiration as you create with the quad. Hooray is the one that I used. So, all right. Oh yes, thank you, Julianne. It's a running stitch. One of these days I'm gonna learn all my stitches. I recently learned, now I've chain stitch. You guys all helped me with that one. Lori Craig created the most beautiful Easter egg card and she used the chain stitch. So now I know running stitch, back stitch, and chain stitch. I'm so proud of myself. Oh, the banners are your favorite, Mindy. Awesome. Yes, Debbie likes the stitched happy birthday to you. Awesome. Jamie just loves the purple. You're here for the purple. I love it. Well, I will keep using more purple. I can't seem to stay away from it. All right. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed the live today, our little crafty together session, and the Quad Club memberships are available through Sunday. So get signed up. Like I said, tell your friends. Friends don't let friends miss out on the Quad of the Month Club. So that goes through Sunday along with our Buy More, Save More promotion on the new Perfect pouches. All right, y'all. You're going to see Susan here on Thursday for a fun live. And so hope to see you back here then at 10 a.m. Central. All right, everybody. Have a great day. Bye-bye.